Hi, honeys. Happy Scorpio season. Happy Day of the Dead. I know y'all feel the vibes. Anytime Halloween comes around, Scorpio season, the veil is super, super thin. I'm sure y'all have been feeling the spiritual presence. I'm sure you might be seeing little things at the corner of your eye. Yes, those are your spirits, those are your guides. And why not use this as an opportunity to tap the fuck in and let's see what messages they have in store for us. So this is gonna be an urgent. I don't even know if it's gonna be urgent. It's just what your ancestors want you to know right now. And we're gonna start off with these piles. So this is pile number one. Pile number one. This is the Akamara or Akamara Tarot. This is my vintage African playing cards deck for pile number two. And pile number three, this is the Chalks of Kikongo deck by my sister Sharifa. So I'll give you guys a second to tap in and just see what vibe you're on. And we're gonna start here. Y'all, if you're not new here, then you already know that my neighbors have been doing lots of work on their house. They're basically rebuilding a whole building next door to me. So sorry if it gets a little bit noisy. What's crazy is it was quiet, and the moment that I put my camera on, they started getting to work. But you already know how that goes. So we're gonna start with pile number one. And we want to call upon our elevated, honorable ancestors who serve the highest light and the greatest good. For those of my honeys who are watching this, we call upon their elevated and honorable ancestors to ground us, ground the energy, and to help me channel divine wisdom that serves the highest light and the greatest good. We demand that these messages only come from a place of light, love, and truth. And I also call upon my elevated and honorable ancestors to ground us and to protect this space to ensure that there are no lower vibrational energies or spirits that can interfere with these messages. So first, starting with pile number one, Spirit, what messages, guidance, insight do you have for my honeys who are choosing pile number one? What is it that their ancestors want them to know? What is it that they need to hear in this moment? At whatever time they're watching this, allow these messages to be timeless and scarily accurate, as always. Hashtag Amber don't miss. All right. Ooh, okay. I didn't even pull anything yet, but I'm hearing dismissed. Your ancestors, there's something that they want you to dismiss, or someone that they want you to dismiss. It's like shutting the door, closing the door, wiping your hands, like, see ya. Like, that's the energy that I'm getting. So if there's someone who is fucking with you, your ancestors are not feeling it. They want you to be done. They want you to rid yourself of their energy. And I'm also hearing closed mouths don't get fed too. So something that you may need to hear is to not be as passive. If there's something that you have been passive about, your ancestors want you to stand on business, whatever this is in regards to. All right, so let's see. For pile number one, what messages do pile number one's elevated and honorable ancestors have for them at this time? What guidance and wisdom do they need to receive? Seven is what I'm getting, y'all. You are seeing 777. You may even be a life path 7. What's interesting to me is 7s are spirit's number. It's the number of the divine. And I feel that you are being posed with options, or you're just at a crossroads, some sort of decision of trying to choose something that is in alignment with your highest and greatest good. I feel that there's been some deception. I feel that you have sought opportunities with excitement, and then once you're in it, you're not really feeling it. Some of you guys might be going through that right now. It's like you chose up, you made a decision with a certain job or a certain relationship, and now that you're in it, it's like you're not really feeling it. So this is also a reminder too that you always have the power to change your mind. It is okay for you to change your mind. Even if I'm hearing that some of you guys get called like choosy or picky, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong of knowing exactly what you want. So some of you guys know what you want, and where you're at, it ain't it. And sometimes some of us have to go through those things. We only, we might not know what's for us or not for us until we actually position ourselves and just carry on that role or carry on that relationship. And that's how we know, like, oh, okay, I'm feeling it or I'm not really feeling it. So I'm getting the hint, especially with this snake here, that some of you guys are not really feeling it. You're ready for a relationship. You're ready for a job. You're ready for a situation to take a different form. Oops, sorry. You're ready for it to take a different form. What does that mean? What are you trying to tell my honeys in pile number 1? I'm also getting something here with the finger. Some of you guys may have been like, maybe you injured your finger, or you recently got a hand tattoo, something having to do with your hands. That could also be a confirmation that these messages are for you. You may also be someone who works with their hands. Yeah. Your ancestors are helping identify what makes you happy. Okay, your ancestors also want you to stay in the vibration of gratitude, starting your morning with daily gratitude, ending your day with daily gratitude. The changes that are happening right now are all emotional. Some of you guys might feel more emotional, wanting to be more connected to spirit and the divine at this time. This ashe is also you recognizing what your own gifts are and what you have. Back to the hands, I feel like you guys, your hands are significant. Maybe you work with your hands or do something with your hands, but your hands seem significant. But I see that your ancestors are helping identify what your spiritual gifts are. So there's spiritual gifts that are coming to the surface too. And one of the things that you are working on, or that they want you to work on, is exercising discernment and being able to feel the energy, being able to feel the energy without seeing the energy. I hope that makes sense. You know what I mean? And trusting that. I also spoke about snakes, but there could also be a connection to snake spirit. Some of you guys are actually Scorpios too. And in this season, you're starting to see what your spiritual gifts are. And also, some of you guys feel like you're at this crossroads in this relationship or this job, because you feel like the things that you have to offer, it's like, I have so much love to give. I have these gifts to give. I have so much to give. And this opportunity or this situation is not allowing me to really show up as that version of myself. So I feel that although you may be grateful for what it has given you, for some of you guys, it's just help you, like I'm hearing, like pick back up. So maybe this is a situation or a job that help you get back on your feet. And that's just what it is, and now you're approaching the season where it's like, okay, now I have the option to be picky and choosy. Before, it was out of obligation. I needed money, I needed job, I needed this resource, or I needed this connection, whatever it is. It feels like you needed something, and now you're in this space where you're recognizing that you don't need it. The only thing that you really need is spirit. This is a time where you're getting way more connected to spirit, your ancestors and your guides, and not just the divine, but the divinity within yourself as well. And taking a look at your life and observing and seeing, like, how can I pour some of that energy into my day-to-day? What other ancestral messages do you have for pile number 1? I'm also getting a sense that some of you guys have felt really anxious. Yeah, I'm getting something about anxiety, maybe even depression too. And your ancestors are help fill your cup again. They're help restoring your energy. Okay? Sometimes it's when you're in those depressive states, or when you're in those anxious states, it's like you don't even care about certain things that you used to care about, or that you feel like you're supposed to care about. And it's like that energy is shifting now. And just as I said that, my candle popped. I don't know if you guys heard it. So they're helping you shift this energy. In fact, some of y'all, speaking about like care, some of you guys are shifting from someone who's just more, what is the word, Spirit? I don't know why astute is coming through. Like, some of my honeys are, if you're seeing this, you may have family in the military, or you may have not dabbled, but you may have been in the military, or you were raised in like a military family. So it's like you have certain structure, aloof even. You may even have Aquarius energy, because some people feel that Aquarians are not super expressive in their emotions, and I feel like that energy is changing for you. Your ancestors want your heart to be a bit more open. They also might be preparing you for love. Yeah. Just as I say that, Baba Calabash, aka the King of Cups in reverse, Three of Swords in the reverse. So I'm seeing that some of you may be going through some sort of breakup. I know I started this reading with like closing the door, or dismissed. Maybe you feel dismissed by someone, or maybe you recently dismissed someone. But I feel like there's this on and off switch, and it's like you decided to turn off your emotions. In some cases, you may come off cool, calm, and collective, and there was cool, calm, and collected, and there's a situation where it's like you allowed your emotions to get the best of you, you know? Cool water. You need to be drinking more water. You need to be surrounding yourselves with cool water, even if that's like eating things that are heavy in water, like watermelon or celery. Some of you guys might be drinking celery juice, or like actually juicing. I'm getting that here. If that is the case, then your ancestors love that. But I definitely see there's some healing here. There's heart healing here. And I'm also seeing that your ancestors, this Scorpio seasons, your ancestors want you to work through, they want you to work through healing the relationship with the divine masculine. Many of you who are seeing this have had strained relationships with the men in your life. Maybe they were physically available, but not emotionally available. So it's like when you don't have examples of what it looks like to be emotionally open and emotionally vulnerable, it's hard for you to show up in that way too. And your ancestors want you to work on that. Work on healing your heart. Work on healing your trauma. And they're going to be helping you move through this, but you have to be open to it. You have to be open and receptive to the healing. And with that comes, taking a trip down memory lane and thinking about the certain instances that cause traumatic experiences to you. It's like, in order for you to recognize where your soft spots are, you have to be softer. You have to be more vulnerable and open to expressing these things. And Spirit is not necessarily saying you need to share these things and share your traumas and trauma bond with people around you. It could be as simple as just journaling. It could be therapy. It could just be acknowledging that this situation really took a toll on me. And maybe it shifted my perspective about love, receiving love, giving love, being open to love. All right. Before I close out, so in a nutshell, heart healing is on the way, honey. Heart healing is on the way. What other messages do those who chose pile number 1, what other ancestral messages do they need to hear? Any clarity or confirmation you can bring us? Yeah. Sun and crossroads. Back to, I spoke about this crossroads. 7-7, making decisions, having to make decisions. Some of you guys might also be taking a trip. I'm hearing something about taking the long way, the long route. If you're taking a, what do you call it, like a road trip, then you may want to actually take the route that's longer, taking the scenic route. It's just going to be healing for you. Something about being in that energy, being in a different environment, just having space to be is going to do something for you. I'm also getting the number 111. The sun is showing up here, but I don't see this in a sense of, you know, a shine your light happiness kind of thing. I see this as inner child healing. I see this as inner child healing, and I feel like your inner child has been, it's been taking the steering wheel. Your inner child has been making the decisions for you. And it's like now your ancestors want you to start making those decisions for yourself without considering your inner child first, because your inner child is unhealed. It's still working through healing. It needs more healing. Yeah. I'm getting Neptune here too. You guys are going to be having a lot of vivid dreams. Your ancestors might be coming to you in your dreams. Keep that in mind. Also, actually, no, that's it. Any other messages, ancestral guidance for pile number 1? All right, final message is, a moment to celebrate. All right, there might be an important event coming up. This could be someone's birthday. It can be an anniversary. It could just be the holidays. You know what I mean? There's something happening where Spirit just wants you to be present and just have an open heart so that you can actually celebrate and receive and just being in that energy. So even though I feel like your energy has felt heavy because there's a lot going on with you emotionally, there's going to be a moment that your ancestors pull you back from doing that inner work and doing that shadow work to just be and celebrate with the ones that you love. So I hope that these messages are what you needed to hear. Thank you so much for the elevated and honorable ancestors who showed up. For all my honeys in pile number 1, we ask that you return to where you came from. Your energy is no longer needed here. Okay, honey. I'm gonna clean this up real quick, and then we're gonna get to pile number 2. Okay. For my honeys who have chosen pile number 2, aka this deck, we call upon your elevated and honorable ancestors to come forth and deliver these messages that come from a place of light, love, and truth. Spirit, what messages, guidance, wisdom do you have for my honeys that chose pile number 2? What is it that they need to hear? What is it that they need to receive? Make these messages clear. Ashe. All right, so what ancestral wisdom guidance is showing up for pile number 2? What messages do their ancestors want them to know? There's something that you were supposed to be learning. There's something that you're supposed to be learning. I feel like some of you guys may have gone to school and dropped out. There's something about education that is really important to your ancestors. Even if it's not in a formal sense, they still want you to have a sense of education. That's important to them. So some of you guys may have ancestors that didn't go to college, and because of that they want you to go to college, they want you to have higher education. There's also ancestors that did get that experience, and because education, especially when we're speaking about our ancestors, our elders, if you are a Black person like me, access to education is just, back then it was just something that was taboo and it was a privilege. So they still see it as such, like to have the opportunity to go to school is a privilege to them. So I'm getting that they want that for you. We don't always have to listen to what our ancestors say. You know, sometimes we have to remember that they're human and sometimes they project. But even if you were not getting the education in a formal sense, they're saying that there's still some more learning that they want you to do. Okay? Some of you guys actually may be called to, maybe you recently dropped out of school or you're thinking about going back to school. This is a confirmation from your ancestors. I'm also seeing this could be an ancestor that was born in August. The month of August could be significant too. All right. What other ancestral messages you have for pile number 2? Oh, okay. Too much. Like I said too, if you watch pile number 1, my neighbors are literally building a building next door to me. So it gets noisy, it gets loud. So I hope that you can hear me. All right. What other ancestral messages, guidance do you have for pile number 2? Oh, I'm hearing the name Gloria. Are you Gloria? Do you have an ancestor named Gloria who's coming through? But wow, like that shit came through quick. It's the only name that I'm getting right now. I'm also getting an ancestor who is a male but has a feminine name, if that makes sense, like a Shannon. Like, yeah, I'm getting a masculine male who has either feminine energy or feminine name. I'm getting that too. So if this is a confirmation for you, this ancestor is really, really present with you right now. What I see here too is that you're supposed to, I feel like this is a spiritual pile. I feel like a lot of you who are watching this are spiritual elders, or it is a part of your purpose to be a spiritual elder. At some point, you are going to be the person that you're going to be the person that, like, your nieces, your nephews, your children are going to be coming to you, and you're going to be sharing the wisdom from your ancestors. That's also why they say that you have a lot of learning to do. There's a lot of, even though you're already tapped in, or even though you already have a lot of spiritual wisdom, like King of Hearts is coming through. So honestly, I feel like you are already within your spiritual practice. Some of you guys might actually be a healer already. You are already someone that people look up to you spiritually, but there's still work to do. There's still new things that your ancestors want you to learn. I'm also getting something with the eyes too. Some of you guys may have issues with your eyes, or yeah, some of you guys may have issues with your eyes, and this feels hereditary. With that said, you're probably a seer. Seers are people who are able, they have the spiritual gift of seeing things, seeing past the veil, seeing beyond the veil, and seeing things in the spiritual realm, whether that's through dreams or having visions or premonitions. That's really, premonitions is coming through strong. I feel like a lot of you guys have, or you may have like That's So Raven moments or deja vu. That is part of your, that's one of your spiritual gifts. But I feel like your ancestors might be teaching you or showing you something else that connects to that gifts, connects to those gifts. With that said, you don't just have one gift. You have multiple spiritual gifts. Spirits are being clear on that. All right, what other messages? Your ancestors also say that you're very fierce, and they're saying the reason why this information and education keeps coming up is because they are very protective of certain spiritual wisdom, and it may have even been generations. I'm getting 8 or 9. Like, there may have been 8 or 9 generations where certain information or certain spiritual gifts bypassed your family, and now they've passed it on to you. So they don't take that lightly. That's why they are saying, like, you still have more work to do, because there's a lot of information that you're going to have access to that hasn't been unearthed in like 8 or 9 generations, and they don't take that lightly. So they don't want you to take it lightly either. And that information will only be accessible when you prove to your ancestors that you're in a space of learning, in a space of ready to receive and listening to them. I'm getting something about obedience, all right? I'm getting something about obedience in the traditions. Having to be patient, not rushing yourself. Even though many of you are spiritual practitioners, healers, diviners, and things like that, they keep affirming that there's still a lot of work to do. I'm also getting that you have fierce feminine energy in your ancestral lineage. Some of these ancestors may even be like, you might be a Leo woman, or you identify with an ancestor who was a Leo woman. With that said, hair could be significant too. What other ancestral messages do you have for pile number 2? What is it that pile number 2 needs to hear? Yeah. You are also creative, and with the information that they're going to give you, they're going to give you information, and they want you to take that information and create something from it, make something from it. So if you are not a healer, you are someone who is really good. Like, I'm getting DIY energy. Some of you guys are DIYers. Like, you like to do things on your own. You love having your own personal projects and passion projects, and your ancestors love that because they did too. Some of your ancestors were woodworkers. They worked with the element of wood, which meant that they also had a close connection to the nature spirits. Wood could be significant. You could have a lot of wood around your home, wearing like wooden jewelry. Yeah. And they're saying the things that you create, they're giving you ideas and things for you to create because it has a lot of fertility attached to it. They're giving you ideas of what you're supposed to be making and creating because they are letting you know how others are going to receive it. And they're saying that there's a lot of fertility around it. So if there's something that you have been creating, working with your hands, they say that you've been working. Okay, they don't want you to stop working. In fact, the fact that this like 4 of Pentacles is coming through is like, maybe you have been working, but it's just maybe you took a pause, or maybe you took a pause, or maybe you took a break. They want to remind you. Ooh, excuse me. They want to remind you, that's a confirmation. They want to remind you how much wealth is attached to what you're building, so they don't want you to lose sight of it or let that slip to the wayside. Okay, they're also protecting it for you, but they want to make sure that, you know, it's okay to take breaks. Your hands might get tired, your mind might be tired, but just remember what's at stake. Just remember how much wealth is connected to what it is that your ancestors are having you create or make. Trying to see if there's anything else that I'm picking up on. I'm also seeing something with like groups. Your ancestors might be putting you in a community. They might be putting you in a community or an environment of like-minded spirits, like-minded people. So pay attention to the people that your ancestors bring into your life too, because there's either a shared goal or a shared vision. There's something here. where these people can add value to your life in some way. Yeah, Two of Pentacles is showing up. So partnership is really important for your ancestors. I see you are doing things on your own, but I also see that, like, okay, this could also be a confirmation that what you are doing or what you're creating is really niche. And that could also be what the holdup is too. You just need to hear, you just need a confirmation that there is someone out there for you. There is a buyer for whatever you are selling or for whatever you're making, no matter how specific it feels. Or I feel like it's so original that you doubt if it will be useful to anyone else, and your ancestors want to confirm that it will. Like, they will make sure that when you put it out into the world, when you create, there's going to be people, there's going to be someone who truly resonates with that and vibes with that. So I feel like you just needed to hear that confirmation so that you don't feel that what you're doing and the work that you're putting in is in vain, that you are going to be met with success, and there are going to be people who truly resonate with like what you're doing and how you're showing up. Okay, because I see here with like, here, this woman, when they're doing the fertility dance, they're all surrounded by each other. I also see here, it's like almost like a maker's workshop. Something about a workshop could be significant too. Maybe you are taking a workshop or you are building your own workshop, but that feels important as well. All right, Spirit, what other ancestral wisdom do you have for pile number 3? My honeys who have chosen pile number 3. I don't feel like this pile is going to be too long. I feel like these are just going to be closing messages. The messages feel super clear. You're on track. You just need confirmations. Yeah, something about December, January, February. Your ancestors want you to try to work on launching this, or you're going to be launching this thing or putting this thing out into the world this winter. So this winter, you're going to be making things. This winter, you might be doing a workshop, taking a workshop. The winter seems significant. Some of you guys might even be born December, January, February. So that would be Sagittarius and Capricorn energy showing up. And Aquarius too. What other messages, confirmations for pile number? Yeah, Saturn is here. Y'all are no stranger to hard work. Some of you guys are probably ruled by Saturn. Like I said, Saturn is ruled by Capricorn and is also ruled by Aquarius. So you could be heavy in your Saturn energy if you're watching this. Maybe you were going through a Saturn return. Don't forget, you typically in our lifetime, we have like 2 Saturn returns at least. So, I mean, hopefully we'll have more, but you could even be in your 50s. I feel like it's around like 56 going through a Saturn return. Or you could be like 20, I forget how old it is, like 28.9 or something like that. Like between the ages of 28 and 29, going through your Saturn return too. But I also see that some of you guys your ancestors want you to be more disciplined with your offerings. They want you to create a schedule for yourself so that you can stay in, they also want you to give yourself a deadline. So that deadline can be between December, January, and February. If you've already given yourself a deadline that this is your ancestors approving, they're like, okay, you said that this is the time that you want to get this out into the world. This is the time where you want to launch it. So make sure that you're putting in that work, okay? Saturn is all about putting in that work, having structure, having discipline, being time-oriented, right? Saturn rules time. Some of you guys might be really into block scheduling or setting specific times to build, to create, and implementing that into your schedule, because they say that there's a lot that you have to offer. I feel like I made that clear. They're making it clear. There's a lot that you have to offer, but it's about really getting it done and being disciplined enough to see these things through. All right, any other final messages? Yeah. Network, I told y'all, groups, workshops, connecting with people, that is really important. Your ancestors want you to network as well. They want you to utilize your network too. Your network can help you, support you in seeing this vision through. I don't have anything else for y'all. That's everything I have for pile number 2. I feel like y'all are on track. You just needed a confirmation from your ancestors to stay on top of it. So with that said, I hope that you receive these messages with love. Thank you so much to the elevated and honorable ancestors who showed up for pile number 2. Ask that you return to where you came from. Your energy is no longer needed here. We're going to cleanse and go to pile number 3 and close out. Okay, honeys. For my honeys who have chosen pile number 3 or these chalks of Kikongo deck, these messages are for you. We call upon your elevated and honorable ancestors to come forth and deliver important guidance, wisdom, information that you need to hear in this moment. Okay, y'all. I wasn't going to say it, but I am going to say it because when I pulled this deck, the first card that I saw was Heaven, and this was before I just shuffled it, and it's showing up again. A lot of you guys who have chosen pile number 3 have really been focused on the future, focused on manifesting, focusing on what's on the end point, like what the end goal is as far as your manifestation, what your life is going to look like, and all those things, which is cool to be able to gauge what it is that you want, but your ancestors want to remind you to create heaven on earth. You're focusing on the, yeah, literally heaven and journey. I'm telling you, like, this message was coming through really, really strong. So I feel like you're focused on the end goal when your ancestors want you to be more focused and present in the journey. Okay, they want you to be more focused on the journey. So let's get into it. What important messages, guidance, insight does pile number 3 need to hear? What ancestral wisdom do they need to receive at this time? What do their ancestors want to tell them? Also, this is crazy. Just so you see the spiritual presence, you see all those little bubbles? I just changed this water before I started this reading, so the spirits are here. And this just had to come out, right? This had to come out. Heaven. Infinite, ascension, spiritual work. All right. Many of you who are watching this pile number 3 are definitely on a path of ascension. You are growing, you are ascending to higher realms, your consciousness is evolving, and heaven on earth could also just be something that resonates with you. Just that saying, creating heaven on earth. Some of you guys seeing this might know someone named Heaven. I don't know why I'm getting that. This could also be an ancestor named Heaven. There's a few messages that I'm getting here. One, your ancestors want you, like right now or ASAP, to start working on elevating them and venerating them, and focusing on ancestral veneration and elevation. Especially during the Scorpio season, you have ancestors who are destined to support and help you in the spiritual realm, but they need to be venerated. And there's so many reasons why this could happen. It could be, maybe they passed away tragically, so they're confused about them being a spirit at all. Some of them may be attached to you or attached to family members and don't want to leave you because they feel like spiritual ascension is leaving you. So it is your responsibility to let your ancestors know that you're okay and it is safe for them to be at peace and to ascend. And others, it's just like, some of these ancestors may not have felt seen, may not have been venerated at all. So this is a really important time right now to do spiritual work on behalf of us, of elevating your ancestors and helping them elevate to higher realms so that they can serve their purpose as a spirit. If you have already been doing that spiritual work, then this is a confirmation that your ancestor has already ascended. You have an ancestor who has already ascended to the higher realms, ascended to heaven, or however you identify with that spiritual space that we go to when our bodies are no longer here. I'm also getting that there's spiritual work that's happening within you to help you evolve, and the key thing is recognizing how everything is connected, right? Everything is connected. With that said, the number 8, you guys might be life paths 8s or connecting to the number 8. That could be a theme. We are in a year 8. That could just be a theme of this year too. Just trying to recognizing, just being in a, I don't want to say nostalgic, but just being very reflective of where you are in your journey and how certain experiences led you to where you are now. Excuse me. Yeah, your ancestors are saying that there are no mistakes. I feel that some of you guys have experienced things that are traumatic, and it can even make you question or doubt your spirituality, because it's like, if these things happen to me, like, how is their spirit, how is their divine if these things happen to me? How are my ancestors protecting me if these certain situations happen to me? And they're letting you know that every single experience that you endured has not only made you stronger, but it's a part of your spiritual path, and it's a part of the spiritual work that you do to help you grow. I even feel like there are certain experiences that you guys have had where your ancestors have had those same experiences. I'm seeing like some mirroring with your ancestors. It's like you guys had the same experiences, but how you handle it, how you heal through that situation, it is what is breaking generational curses, is what is helping your ancestors ascend. So simply your response, and maybe before, if this is a situation of like personal protection, this could have been during a time where your ancestors were not able to advocate for themselves. It was a life or death situation. So the way that they wanted to respond was not the way that they could respond. But now we're in different times, and by you going through the same experience and you responding a different way is elevating your ancestors, because you are doing it and you are handling it the way that they wanted to, but just did not have the power, the resources, the strength, whatever, to do that. I've only pulled 4 cards. I feel like for you guys, your ancestors are it's just a lot of channeling coming through. And I also feel like there's this commitment to making sure that when you do leave this earth, you are one of the ascended ancestors. Ascension is a message, a word that's going to be showing up for a lot of you. And it's really because you are ascending. You are ascending. You have been doing the spiritual work. Your guides, your ancestors just want to remind you how every experience is connected to where you are in this moment. All right, so let's see, what other ancestral messages, Spirit, do you have for pile number 3? What is it that they need you to know? So the thing that is different is boundaries. Your ancestors really want you to stand on certain boundaries, okay? No matter who it is for. Almost like boundaries as a form of spiritual work, boundaries as a form of spiritual protection. This could be a time where your ancestors are forcing you or guiding you to set certain boundaries with certain people, places, things, because it could be blocking your ability to grow and evolve spiritually, physically, financially, whatever the case may be. So boundaries is showing up as something really important right now. And setting boundaries is a part of the spiritual work that's going to help you evolve. This new moon right now, literally, it's a new moon in Scorpio. So new moon in Scorpio is making you aware. Scorpio is really about the hidden, the taboo, the mysterious. And it's also a water sign energy. So we have a new moon and a water sign. So it's a lot of emotional revelations too. So one of those emotional revelations is recognizing where you need to be setting boundaries with yourself or others for as a part of spiritual work. With that said, fear is showing up at the bottom. So fear could be something that is coming up for you to heal. What's at the top? Self node. Okay, so there's revelations around certain patterns, habits that you have inherited from past lives too. So it's almost like if there's certain habits that have been fixed habits, and fixed patterns, that it's like you always return to this way of being. Your ancestors want you to work on that, which means possibly setting boundaries with yourself so that you don't go back into those old ways. 103 and the number 30, 103, 30, 30. Some of you guys might be reaching, especially with the new moon. Some of you guys are going to be approaching your 30th birthday. And that could also be where like this new energy is coming from too. Something about 30 just hits different. You feel growner. You feel growner. You feel a little seasoned. You feel like you're equipped with certain tools to navigate through adulthood. Adulting doesn't feel as foreign when you're in your 30s. So I also feel like 30s, being in your 30s, turning 30 is significant too. And there's a lot of spiritual elevation that's happening and spiritual ascension that's happening when you're in your 30s too. All right, what other predictions, messages, ancestral wisdom do you have for pile number 3? Yeah. So with this new moon, they're also saying that your dreams are going to be very, very vivid as well, which means there's going to be some sudden revelations about the things that you want, the things that you aspire to do or to be, and just what your dream reality looks like. And one of the things that you're working through is healing certain mental blockages. So that looks like certain thoughts. The patterns that we spoke about in setting boundaries is really about with your thoughts. Your ancestors want you to learn to set boundaries with your negative self-talk, setting boundaries with fear, setting boundaries with self-doubt. Because these are the things, this is what is getting in the way of you and your dreams, you and experiencing and manifesting heaven on earth. So some of you guys have been dealing with like just, it could also be too, with new moon, that could be it too. New moon, there could be a new dream that is evolving, a new idea, a new way of being that is evolving. And you're flirting with that idea, but then there's also a part of you that is torn between the person that is right now. You're torn between your current dream, your current reality. You're torn between your current reality and the person or the life that you want to manifest or that you are dreaming of manifesting. And that could also be where these mental blockages are coming from, because two different realities equals two different ways of thinking. So I feel like your ancestors are working on you leaning towards having the mental strength of this person that you are becoming. I really hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. But I see that there's new wishes that you have, new dreams that are blossoming, and your ancestors are totally supporting you in that. And they're saying the only thing that is in the way is like these mental blockages, how you speak to yourself, how you perceive your life. And also like I said, lack of boundaries. So anything else showing up for pile number 3? What other final ancestral wisdom messages do you have for pile number 3, Spirit? What is it that they need to know? Final messages. Okay, moment to celebrate. Like I said, 30s. I feel like someone is about to celebrate their 30th birthday, or they're about to celebrate a birthday. And it's like new birthday, new year, new dreams, new goals. And you're at a crossroads. It's like you're like I said, this is about you being torn between your current reality and the reality that you are working towards manifesting or embodying. I also see that there's going to be some decisions to be made too around things that you are creating, but also some of you guys might have a decision about whether or not you want to have a family, you want children. There could also be some important decisions that your ancestors want you to make involving your children too. Maybe this is a new, with your children. Hold on one second. Making decisions, this could also be not just your birthday, but if you have a child, your child's birthday is coming up or recently passed, and it's like you had to make certain decisions or having to make certain decisions of involving like this next journey of their life, whether that is like school, education, or just like the type of lifestyle that you want to provide for your children. Okay, y'all, that's everything that I have for pile number 3. Thank you so much to the ancestors who came through and delivered these messages. Thank you for the clarity. If these messages hit, come through, honey, book a one-on-one. I'm also doing in-person readings in Atlanta the week of November 11th, and I'm also now offering in-person sessions in Newark, New Jersey. So that's for my Jersey honeys and also for my honeys who are in New York City, because it's only 2 stops on the PATH train or on New Jersey Transit. So I love you guys, and I'll speak to you soon.